The following documents my investigation into the Lambert family's experiences, specifically focusing on the supernatural phenomena that has plagued Josh Lambert and his son Dalton for nearly a decade. I've compiled this information through interviews, personal accounts, and documented evidence spanning several years, with the permission of those involved. Some details have been altered to protect the family's privacy, though the core experiences remain unchanged. During my years documenting paranormal phenomena, I've encountered numerous claims of hauntings, possessions, and otherworldly experiences. Most can be explained through rational means, psychological projections, environmental factors, or simply the human tendency to seek patterns in random events. The Lambert case, however, defies conventional explanation, presenting a coherent and consistent narrative of supernatural interaction that spans generations and challenges our understanding of the boundary between the living and the dead. For context, I should explain what the further is, as described by those who claim to have experienced it. According to the Lamberts and psychic Elise Renier, deceased, the further is not simply another dimension, but a vast, dark plane where the souls of the dead remain suspended. It exists parallel to our world, occasionally intersecting with our reality through what they call doorways. These intersections can manifest physically as red doors, a symbolic representation of the threshold between worlds that has become literal in the Lamberts' experience. The Lambert family first encountered the further when Dalton, then a young boy of 8, fell from a ladder in the attic of their home and entered a coma-like state. Medical professionals were baffled by his condition, unable to find any physical cause for his prolonged unconsciousness. What doctors didn't realize was that Dalton wasn't truly in a coma. His consciousness had traveled to the further, while his physical body remained in our world, creating a vacant vessel that malevolent entities sought to occupy. This initial incident led to a series of supernatural interventions, culminating in Josh entering the further himself to retrieve his son's soul, guided by Elise Renier. What the family didn't know at the time was that Josh himself had experienced similar phenomena as a child, his memories suppressed through hypnosis by the same psychic who would later help his son. The Lambert family believed they had closed this chapter of their lives, sealing away both the memories and the doorway to the further. When I met with Josh Lambert in his modest suburban home, he appeared older than his years, his face lined with the stress of someone who has faced inexplicable horrors. "We thought it was over," he told me, his voice barely above a whisper. "We thought we could just move on, live normal lives." He gestured to family photos on the wall, smiling faces captured in moments of normalcy that now seemed fragile and temporary. The events that brought me to the Lambert household began approximately 8 months ago, when Dalton, now 18 and enrolled at the prestigious Mercer College of Art, unknowingly created a new doorway to the further. The painting itself, which Josh reluctantly showed me, depicts a red door standing alone in a field of darkness, surrounded by shadowy figures reaching toward it. The brushwork is frantic, the red of the door so vivid it seems to pulsate against the black background. "His professor praised it," Josh explained, unable to look directly at the canvas. "Said it showed profound psychological depth. They had no idea what they were looking at." According to Dalton, whom I interviewed separately, he had no conscious memory of his childhood experiences in the further when he created the painting. "It came to me in dreams," he explained, his hands fidgeting nervously with a bracelet on his wrist. "I kept seeing this door, and these shapes moving behind it. I thought it was just my imagination, something my subconscious created. I never thought I was actually remembering." The night Dalton completed the painting, strange occurrences began in his dormitory. His roommate, Marcus Chen, provided a written statement describing temperature drops so severe you could see your breath, and shadows that moved against the direction of light. Most disturbing was his account of waking at 3:17 a.m. to find Dalton standing motionless before the painting, whispering in a language Marcus couldn't identify. Campus security footage, which I was permitted to review, shows unexplained technical glitches occurring whenever Dalton was present in common areas. In one particularly unsettling sequence, the camera capturing the dormitory hallway shows Dalton walking toward his room, followed by what appears to be a dark figure maintaining a consistent distance behind him. When investigators reviewed the physical space, they found no explanation for the shape on the footage, and no other students reported seeing anyone following Dalton that night. Josh Lambert became aware of these events when Dalton called home, describing recurring nightmares featuring a man with a red face who was trying to speak to him. This description immediately triggered Josh's own suppressed memories of the further, particularly of an entity known as the Lipstick-Faced Demon, a red-skinned creature with black hollow eyes and razor-sharp claws that had previously targeted their family. What makes the Lambert case particularly compelling is the intergenerational nature of the haunting. Though rare in documented paranormal cases, there appears to be a hereditary component to their ability to astral project, to separate consciousness from the physical body and travel to the further. This genetic predisposition has made both Josh and Dalton targets for entities seeking passage into our world. It's like they can sense us, Josh explained during our second interview. Like sharks smelling blood and water, they know we can open doors they can't. The most disturbing incident occurred 3 months ago, when Dalton's girlfriend, Amelia, reported that he had suddenly begun speaking in a different voice during a video call, telling her to come see what's behind the door. She described his face as empty and not quite his own. When she refused, he reportedly smiled in a way she described as wrong before the call abruptly ended. When she called back repeatedly, he had no memory of their conversation. I requested to examine Dalton's painting in detail, and what I found was methodically documented with photographic evidence. Under ultraviolet light, hidden layers of the painting revealed symbols consistent with 17th century Enochian script, a supposed angelic language used in occult practices. More disturbing was the discovery that the paint used for the red door contained organic material. Laboratory analysis confirmed the presence of hemoglobin, suggesting that Dalton had, consciously or not, mixed his own blood into the paint. This physical connection between artist and artwork appears to have strengthened the doorway, creating what paranormal researchers would classify as a tethered portal, one bound to its creator and capable of following them regardless of physical location. This explains why moving the painting from the dormitory to a storage facility did nothing to diminish the phenomena surrounding Dalton. The temperature in the storage unit where the painting was kept dropped so dramatically that moisture in the air froze, creating a thin layer of ice on surrounding objects. The security guard who discovered this anomaly, Stanley Watkins, resigned immediately afterward, citing personal reasons. I tracked him down at his sister's home in a neighboring state, where he reluctantly spoke with me. I've worked security for 15 years, Watkins told me, his hands shaking as he lit a cigarette. I've seen break-ins, vandalism, you name it. Nothing scared me. But when I opened that unit and saw that painting, it was looking at me. Not the figures in it, the painting itself. Like it was alive. And I swear to God, I heard it whispering. When I asked what the whispers said, he extinguished his cigarette and ended our interview. As the phenomena escalated, Josh realized they needed to confront what was happening rather than flee from it. This decision was accelerated when Dalton began sleepwalking, with dormitory security cameras capturing him, attempting to leave the building at precisely 3:17 a.m. 3 nights in a row. Each time he was stopped by night security, who found him unresponsive and unable to explain his actions when awakened. The third night, Josh told me, his voice breaking, he wasn't sleepwalking toward the exit. Security found him on the roof of the dormitory, standing on the edge. They said he was having a conversation with someone they couldn't see. After this incident, Josh removed Dalton from college and brought him home, where they could address the situation together. What followed was what Josh described as the hardest conversation of my life, revealing to his son the full truth of their shared past, including Josh's own childhood experiences with the Further and the events of Dalton's childhood that had been hidden from him. The confirmation of these suppressed memories triggered a severe psychological response in Dalton. For 3 days, he experienced what medical professionals diagnosed as acute stress reaction, but what Josh recognized as the beginning of a separation between Dalton's physical form and his astral body, the precursor to another journey into the Further. It was during this period that I was contacted by Josh, who had found my previous documentation of similar cases. When I arrived at their home, the atmospheric disturbances were immediately apparent. Electronic equipment malfunctioned consistently, batteries drained at an inexplicable rate, and digital recordings contained sound anomalies that audio engineers later classified as non-random patterns suggestive of speech. The house itself seemed to react to Dalton's presence. Doors would open or close when he entered rooms. Lights flickered in patterns that, when analyzed, corresponded to Morse code spelling, "come back." Most disturbing were the physical changes to the home's structure, specifically the appearance of a red door in the basement where architectural plans confirmed no door had ever existed. Josh showed me this manifestation with visible reluctance. The door stood in stark contrast to the white-painted concrete wall of the basement, its red paint seemingly wet and glistening despite being dry to the touch. When photographed, the door appeared blurred in every image, as though it existed between frames of reality. "It wants us back," Josh explained, standing at a distance from the door. "It's not finished with our family." Based on consultations with various spiritual advisors, names withheld at their request, Josh determined that the only way to end the haunting permanently was to enter the Further once more, this time with Dalton consciously accompanying him, to close the door from the other side. The inherent risk in this approach cannot be overstated. According to all accounts, remaining in the Further too long results in the physical body dying, trapping the consciousness permanently in that realm. Josh agreed to allow me to document their preparation for this dangerous undertaking, though not the ritual itself. What I witnessed in the days leading up to their attempt was a methodical process combining elements from various spiritual traditions, protective circles drawn in salt, candles arranged in specific geometric patterns, and the burning of herbs traditionally associated with spiritual cleansing. Most significant was their approach to the painting. Rather than destroying it, which Josh believed would only release whatever was contained within it, they intended to use it as a controlled access point, allowing them to enter the Further deliberately rather than being pulled in against their will. On the night of their planned journey, the atmospheric conditions around the Lambert home changed dramatically. Weather records confirm an unexpected temperature drop of 15 degrees in their immediate vicinity, with no meteorological explanation. Neighbors reported hearing what they described as whale songs emanating from the property, though sound equipment detected nothing audible in normal human ranges. I was asked to leave before the actual ritual began, but was permitted to place sealed recording equipment in the room. What these devices captured defies conventional explanation. For 17 minutes, there was complete silence, followed by a sudden burst of static. When this static is analyzed with specialized audio software, voices can be distinguished. Not just Josh and Dalton's, but at least 5 others speaking simultaneously in different languages, some of which language experts have been unable to identify. The most distinct phrase, repeated 3 times, has been translated approximately as, "The door must remain." What happened in the 17 hours that followed remains largely unknown. Emergency services were called to the Lambert home at 5:34 a.m. when a neighbor reported seeing unusual lights. First responders found Josh and Dalton unconscious in the basement, their vital signs stable but with core body temperatures significantly below normal. The red door that had manifested in the basement was gone, leaving only a solid concrete wall. Most strikingly, Dalton's painting had changed. The red door in the image now appeared closed, with the shadowy figures no longer reaching toward it, but retreating into the background. Both Josh and Dalton were hospitalized for observation, but discharged within 48 hours, having returned to normal body temperature with no apparent physical effects from their experience. They have declined to discuss specifically what occurred during those 17 hours, though Josh did provide one cryptic statement. Some doors aren't meant to be opened, others aren't meant to be closed. We found a third option. In the months since this incident, the paranormal activity around the Lambert family has ceased entirely. The painting has been sealed in a lead-lined box and stored in a location Josh refuses to disclose. Dalton has returned to college, though he has changed his major from fine arts to psychology, with a focus on trauma studies. The most compelling evidence that something fundamental has changed comes from electronic devices in the Lambert home. Previously plagued by malfunctions, they now function normally with one consistent exception. Any device with a camera, when pointed at certain angles in their home, captures a faint red glow that isn't visible to the naked eye. When asked about this phenomenon, Josh simply replied, "It's not a door anymore, it's a window, and windows can be covered." I have continued monitoring the Lambert case for any signs of renewed activity. Weather patterns around their home have normalized, and no further manifestations have been reported. Dalton's new artwork shows no traces of the disturbing elements present in the red door painting, and psychological evaluations indicate he is processing his experiences in a healthy manner. Yet something about this apparent resolution feels incomplete. During my final interview with Josh, conducted 6 weeks after the incident, he made a statement that continues to trouble me. "They're still there, watching, waiting, not just for us, but for anyone who can see the doors, anyone who can open them." When I asked if he was concerned about future incidents, his response was measured but unsettling. "The further isn't just a place, it's a state of being. Once you've been there, part of you never leaves, and part of it never leaves you." The Lambert case represents one of the most well-documented instances of intergenerational haunting in modern paranormal research. While skeptics might attribute their experiences to shared delusion or environmental factors, the consistent patterns of phenomena, the physical evidence, and the corroborating testimonies of unrelated witnesses suggest something beyond conventional explanation. What makes their story particularly significant is not just the phenomena they experienced, but their apparent success in resolving it. If their account is accurate, the Lamberts have not just escaped the entities of the further, but have fundamentally altered their relationship with that realm, transforming a doorway into a window, an active threat into a managed boundary. As a researcher, I remain cautious about drawing definitive conclusions. The nature of consciousness, reality, and perception remains largely mysterious even to our most advanced scientific understanding. What the Lamberts experienced may one day be explained through frameworks we haven't yet developed. Until then, their story serves as a compelling case study in how the boundaries between worlds, whether psychological or supernatural, may be more permeable than we care to admit. Since completing this documentation, I've noticed a peculiar development in my own experience. 3 times now, I've awakened at precisely 3:17 a.m., feeling observed. On the most recent occasion, I found myself standing before my bathroom mirror without any memory of having left my bed. Perhaps most troubling is the painting that now hangs in my office, a gift from Dalton Lambert, showing not a red door, but a window with the curtains drawn. Some nights I could swear those curtains move, as if stirred by a breeze from another world. I have not yet decided whether to continue this line of investigation,